Week 12 notes, one-step inequalities in graphing. What is an inequality? Well, it helps us first to think about what an equation is. An equation is really something like this with an equal sign, anything with an equal sign. The answers that we got for our equations would look something like x equals 3. But what if you have something like this? X is greater than 3, or x is less than 3. Or x is greater than or equal to 3, or x is less than or equal to 3. These right here are all called inequalities, meaning the value is not equal to the variable. The variable is actually an infinite number of values less than or greater than this value right here. So the best way to represent such a thing is to not just write this, but to graph it. So we're going to be doing that today. Let's take a moment and write these steps down. And our first example is going to be A is less than or equal to 1. A is less than or equal to, actually -1, I mean, -1. So first thing we do is we draw a circle on the given point. So where's -1? Right here. So we'll draw a circle right there. If it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, we're going to fill in the circle. So let's fill the circle in. Step 2. Now we draw an arrow. If it's less than or equal to, the arrow goes left. If it was greater than or equals to, the arrow would go right. But because it is less than or equal to, the arrow is going to go left. So I'm going to draw an arrow left, and that represents all the values -1 and less than -1, all the way to negative infinity. Let's try number 2. V equals, or actually, not, I don't want to say equals, that's that's an equation. V is greater than or equal to 3. So draw a circle on the given point. If less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, fill in the circle. So we're going to fill the circle in again. And if it's greater than, the arrow is going to go right. And you can see, obviously, V is everything 3 and greater than 3. So you're going to draw an arrow just like that. Okay. How about this third one? And I want you to try this on your own. 3, we have B is less than 2. All right, assuming you have tried that, I'm going to just keep it consistent. So if it is less than or greater than, no equal, we're going to leave that circle open. And in this case, it's going to be right here at 2. Leave the circle open. Then we're going to draw our arrow. If it's less than, then the arrow is going to go left. So your graph should look like this. And what this is, folks, this represents what B is. It's everything less than 2. It does not include 2, though, and that's why we leave the circle open. In this case, this is everything less than or equal to -1, but we're including -1. Okay. Number 4, x is greater than -4. So we have a less than, or excuse me, a greater than, no equals. So that means our circle is going to be open, right, at -4. And since x is everything greater than -4, but not including it, we're going to draw our arrow to the right. Everything greater than -4, all the way to positive infinity. Now, some problems require you to first solve the inequality like you would an equation. What do I mean by that? Let me show you. Number 5. 17 is greater than x minus 2. So we're going to treat this thing right here, this greater than sign, as an equal sign. We're going to solve this equation. We know that everything over here is greater than everything over here, right? But if we do the same thing to both sides every single time, that relationship, this being greater than everything over here, is still going to be the same. So what we're going to do is change colors. And we're going to solve this like an equation. We're going to isolate the variable, very similar to what you see up here. So we're going to add 2 to both sides, and then we have 19 is greater than x. This cancels out. So you solve it like an equation. But this right here, well, actually, before I box it up, I like the variable on the left side. And so what we have to pay attention to right here, before we box it up, is that happening? Is the variable on the left side? Well, no, it's not. It's on the right side. So we're going to have to put it on the left side. Pay attention, though, right here. What is the little pointy part towards? Is it towards the number or is it towards the x? Well, you have to pay attention, okay? If the pointy part is toward the x here, then that means it's going to have to be toward the x if you wrote the x on the left side too. So you have to flip the sign, right? Because x is less than 19. X is less than 19, or 19 is greater than x. It's the same thing. So I'm going to box that up. So make sure that your variable is on the left side. That is actually very important. So let's just put 19 here on the line, but we're going to draw an open circle here at 19. Well, actually, I'm going to draw a little line first here. 19. Okay. And then I'm going to open circle because it's less than, no equal to. And since it is less than, I'm going to draw my line to the left. Less than. Okay. Let's try another one. Number 6, 8 plus r is less than or equal to 16. All right. Solve it like an equation. We have to get r by itself. Subtract 8 from both sides. And r is less than or equal to 8. And since our variable is on the left side, we're all good. We're done with that. Now we have to graph it. So let's draw 8 on the number line. Doesn't matter where we draw it, as long as we do our circle and our arrow correctly. So because this is less than or equal to, we're going to have not just an open, but a closed circle is what we call it. And then r is everything equal to 8 and less than 8. So we're going to draw our arrow again to the left. And we're done with that one. Okay. Now I want you to try this one on your own. 1 is less than b minus -2. Assuming you've tried it, I'm going to rewrite this with a plus because negative negative always means plus. So 1 is less than b plus 2. Then I want to get b by itself on that side. So I'm going to subtract 2, subtract 2. And then 1 minus 2 is -1, is less than b. However, I want b to be on the left side, so I want it to be where the -1 is. What I'm going to have to do is flip it around. But if I do that, I'm going to have to make sure that I also flip my inequality sign, because that's the relationship. B is greater than -1. -1 is less than B. So it has to be in that relationship. Now you can box it up. You can draw a -1 on the number line. And then because it's greater than -1, we're going to have an open circle. And then B is everything greater than -1, not including -1. All right, last question, last question. I'll just keep the same color. N plus -7 is greater than or equal to -11. And I encourage you to pause and try this on your own. Assuming you've tried. And plus minus. Well, plus minus is just going to be minus. So I'm going to rewrite this. N minus 7 is greater than or equal to -11. All right, next step. I want to get this -7 off of the left side. So I'll add it just like I'm solving an equation. But this is an inequality. So we get n, that goes away, is greater than or equal to a negative, oh gosh, I'm blanking right now, -4. So this is where we plot it then, -4. And then is it going to be an open circle or a closed circle? If you see the equal, it's always going to be closed. So let's make a solid circle right here. And then n is everything greater than or equal to -4. So our arrow is going to be going to the right. And we're done.